right, what's up, everybody? It's Jesse from Cycle News, and I'm here with a very cool guest, Ricky Carmichael. Ricky, say hi.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for having me.
I don't think we need to do much of an introduction to Ricky Carmichael, but something new to talk to Ricky about, other than racing and setting records and being the GOAT, is maybe a somewhat newfound, excuse me, passion for adventure riding, which is pretty cool for me because I'm a passionate adventure rider and test rider adventure bikes and like to do dumb ideas with my friends. And it sounds like Ricky's been bitten by the bug himself, and has been doing some cool rides. So, Ricky, give me just a quick intro about your history with adventure bikes and sort of how you got into it.
Yeah, so my intro was my old boss at Suzuki. Actually, now is the boss at he's the main man in charge of Triumph in America here,
Right.
and US. So there, I was looking just online one day at all this product, right, and in adventure bikes, and I really liked the Triumph, the style, and the 900. And I'm like, man, these things are really nice. And come to find out, my old boss, he was running it, and yeah, one thing led to another. I got on a Tiger 900, and here we are today. I think it's about 3 years. I think we're 3 years in to this whole deal, and
Cool.
yeah, I've been bitten by the bug, the adventure riding bug, no doubt about it. And that's how I got to where I am. So got some Triumph product, and ever since then, man, it's been a fun ride.
So, did that start before your relationship with Triumph officially
Oh,
started? Were you just like interested in it?
yeah. There was an interest there before there was any relationship with Triumph. Yeah, it just looked fun to me. And what I like about it, to make it super simple for everyone, is what I like about adventure riding is I love the being on the road aspect of it, but I also like to have that option. If there's a killer route that we can go on while we're out west, or even on the East Coast, no matter where we're at, if there's a cool route that we can take that's off road, boom, we have that option to do that. And that's what's cool about the adventure motorcycle riding.
Yep, I think you nailed it. I would agree.
Yeah.
It's almost
Like,
like
so especially, out west, it's a little bit easier, I feel like, on
yeah.
our rides that we do. There's so many routes to take, on whether it's dirt trails or fire trails, whatever it might be. And you can't do that just on road bikes, as you know. And that's the cool thing about adventure bikes.
Yeah, and even on the flip side of that, if you're on a smaller dual sport bike or even like a single cylinder dirt bike with a license plate on it of any kind, you can't really connect all those great places on an epic trip like you're doing. I mean, you've gone from, supercross, motocross, dirt, like the smallest, most compact, high performance machines to, I mean, you're off the deep end of adventure. You're doing big miles already, which
Oh,
as you say in your story, which we'll get to in a minute, looks better on paper sometimes. Um,
yeah.
so you can cover those big stretches of maybe not the funnest road to get to another amazing section.
You're exactly right. So, going to your point about the dual sport bike,
Mhm.
or more of an enduro type, I don't know that you'd want to do a 500-mile day where you're trekking. I don't know. So say you have 500 miles on the day, and you need to get from point A to point B. I That's what I love about, like, the bigger adventure bikes, like the Tiger. I mean, I love the Tiger. You can do those high mileage road rides on those bikes extremely comfortable. Anything outside of that, you're going to be feeling like you're doing 1,000 miles a
Yeah.
day. So that's the nice thing about it.
Yeah, it's kind of a sliding scale. Like the bigger the bike, the more comfortable it becomes on those big straight stretches, and then a little more less comfortable off road. But if you find the right balance and the capability of the new adventure bikes, including all the new Triumph models, obviously, to tackle both ends of that spectrum is pretty spectacular.
It is. It is. There's no doubt about it, and that is the cool thing, and it can handle all elements.
Right.
If we're if it's cold one morning, you know, you got the grip warmers, you got the seat warmers, you have enough protection from the wind also. And then, like I said, if you need to hop off road, it's, it has the capabilities to handle all of that stuff. Now, I'm not going to be taking that thing on a super narrow trail that I could barely fit my dirt bike through.
Yeah.
But most of the time you're not riding on that stuff. So I just love the versatility of it. They are so much fun. And another thing too is just the riders that we have that tag along on our rides, that makes it fun as well. As it's about the camaraderie. That's a huge aspect for us as well.
Yeah, it's about getting your friends to do dumb stuff and laugh at them.
We try not to do dumb stuff. I will tell you, there has been multiple times, more than not, where I'm like, we probably shouldn't have been going that fast.
Yeah. Or maybe not down that particular road. Like, we're already too far deep. We have to keep going, but maybe we need to reconsider our direction next time.
That's right.
So let's talk about this ride this year, or let's just talk about it this year, because this year was a big one. I mean, you went from Spokane, Washington, all the way across, you cross through Idaho, you go through Montana, you drop down into Colorado. Like, those are some of the biggest states in the country, covering big miles. Personally, for me, I'm from Montana originally. So when you're talking Darby and Alberton and going down, all the roads you're riding, I'm like, those are the roads I used to ride my 50 on. And those are like the places I grew up riding with my dad, like riding logging roads. So I'm like, he's getting into real stuff here. He's not just doing it for a Triumph PR stunt. So tell me about the planning and how you guys came up with this route.
Yeah, so that's a great thing. We had an absolutely epic time on our RC summer adventure ride this past year, and how it originated was a few years ago. Once we got our adventure bikes, and we wanted, because let me rewind. 5 to 6 years ago, we rode from, probably longer than that now, we rode from Loretta's to Sturgis, and it was all road. We were on motor, just straight up street bikes. Yep. And then that kind of morphed to where we are today, 6-7 years later, on adventure bikes. And we're like, man, we saw so many great routes, but it was on dirt roads also. That's getting on the adventure bike. So yeah, this year was epic. One of my favorite rides that we've done thus far. The longest day, I will say, was a little bit too long, as we left, I think it was our second or third day, we left Yellowstone. It was our third day is what it was. We left Yellowstone and we went all the way down to, I believe it was Grand Junction. And that was a full pull. I think it was close to 600 miles on the day. And we had 11 of us traveling. We had 3 or 4 guys from Australia. Some good friends from Australia had come to join. But how it all comes together, and I know I'm bebopping and bouncing around, is JH, Ray Butts. They kind of sit down and look at everything of possible routes that we could go. I put some input in of where I would like to go. I just really love that area, like Idaho, Montana. You talk about Darby. Love going there. It's a staple in our ride. We have to stay there at least, one night and pass through. I love that countryside. And so we all look at a route, where we want to start, where we want to end, what'll be fun. And we try to hit new spots every year and go to places that we haven't been. So we figure that out, and we set our accommodations for each night and our stops. We pretty much have it well-rounded of, we want to go from 200 miles to 350 miles per day. Anything outside that, you really have to hustle, especially if you have a lot of guys and you're trying after content. It just, the day gets too long, because we don't want to ruin ourselves getting up too early and getting back too late. We don't really want to ride in the dark, just from a safety aspect. So those are the things that we really think about as we're planning out our routes. And there's sites that we want to see, and and then we want to get to our destinations each night, like I said, before it's dark. and so we can clean up, enjoy ourselves. Like everything is planned. It's almost like, imagine paying to go on a VIP trip with one where it's, you know, you really enjoy yourself. You can have some drinks, have a nice dinner. So that the grand scope.
Yeah. It resonates a lot with a lot of the rides. You know, I know other people do. I know people that listen to this or read about this in the issue are going to be like, that's what me and my friends do. Ricky's got it. Like, he's got the same thing. I think the big point you made that I really agree with is getting in before dark. Because number one, like, and you're riding in that country, there's deer everywhere in the summertime, and deer and motorcycles do not get along too well. The other thing is, you're going to small towns generally, small towns that are like really happy to see 5 or 10 guys come in on motorcycles and buy dinner, get some drinks at a bar, buy some groceries. Like, it really supports their economy in the summer. And their summer's short. Like, Darby, Montana summer is pretty short. They don't have a lot of time to capture people, you know, from Australia, from Florida, coming out and just riding through town and staying there and spending some money. So if you can plan your trip to, you know, support these local businesses, it like really boosts the motorcycling contribution to the economy, and it makes them more motorcycle fans. And that's awesome for the whole industry. I mean, we've been spending money our whole lives as motorcyclists. Like, let's be honest, it's expensive. So it helps if you can get in there and just give back to the people that are, you know, being hospitable to you.
Well, that's right. And, you know, you talk about, like, I was saying Darby. So that's like a staple in our ride. We are going to have a route that goes through Darby. We stay at Rye Creek Lodge, and they are just so hospitable. And to your point, we're staying there. There's, you know, 10 to 13 people renting little cabins, and so it's a nice chunk of cash for them, and we enjoy to do that. And so we can make a little impact on the economy for that one night. And that's it's cool to be able to go there, and the people look forward to it, hosting us, and make a little money on the back end, and that's what it's all about.
You're gonna have to book your stuff early now, because everybody in the adventure bike world is going to be going to Darby, Montana now.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like, oh, Ricky went there.
Make sure they don't go when we want to go, right? So, but it's and the thing that blows my mind about adventure riding, there's so many roads and so many
scratching the surface.
You know, like
it's like endless.
Yeah, I mean, it's endless. So that's the thing. It's been kind of tough, I would say, because it's becoming pretty popular. You know, the RC Summer Adventure Ride, from a media,
like a wait list, like an initiation period for friends, more friends or friends that want in.
I don't want it to feel like work. You know, there's time and a place for that, and it's hard. It's growing so much. It's hard to find that balance, right? And but still, I feel like if we can keep it mellow, and it's still a fun trip with the boys, and capture raw, organic content, you know, that's what it's going to be all about. And I don't want it to be forced, and I feel like that, and the people will have a good time at that. There's a time and a work trips, you know.
I also think you're doing a good job of that. I mean, the Racer X article is good. It's not like, you know, full on sponsorship plug, which these can quickly turn into that. The other thing, you know, people are helping you. You know, Triumph is a big partner of yours now. I'd love to get into the off-road world of that a little bit with you, but, you know, you have a list of your gear guys that are helping you, and they don't really want you to be a sponsorship commercial as you're doing an adventure ride. There's enough of that out there in the world. So showing it in real, you know, use is good. I mean, all the stuff you use is proven adventure product, and it's sort of leading edge stuff. So tell me about some of your favorite stuff you use on the rides, I guess, if you want a chance to give a plug.
Yeah. So you were just talking about that. It's been cool to see. I mean, let's just talk about Fox, right off the bat.
Sure.
they've done a massive push into the adventure category. It's a growing category, as you know. I mean, it's so popular right now, and it's something that I love it. So that's my favorite, right? Is right now is seeing the innovation and new product that they're creating, and going through the R&D phases with them, and trying to find stuff that is durable, that keeps you warm when needed, but also has the ventilation when it's hot.
Yep.
And also is, flexible, and, on the performance side, that is comfortable to wear, doesn't feel heavy, all that fun stuff.
Yeah,
So that's been a lot of fun, and they got great style. And this isn't a knock towards other adventure gear and apparel, but I feel like Fox has the upper hand on that, and they make some pretty stylish adventure wear.
I don't think anybody's going to argue that Fox is bad at style.
No,
they've been doing a pretty decent job of that for a while.
That's been fun to watch that grow and be a part of their growth in that category with them. That's been a lot of fun. And then you go to like Quad Lock, right. How good their stuff, how good their product works. The phone mounts on the bikes, which, as you know, is super important for GPS, making sure we're on the right routes, and Cardo, we got our talkback systems, and that's been a lot of fun as well. I mean, we're chatting it up. And most of the time when we're on the Cardos, it's to someone else's. We like to make fun of JH a lot. And
I was going to say, somebody's got to be the butt of the jokes.
Of the or he takes the brunt of the conversation most of the time. So he's just so easy to make fun of, right? And it could be anything from his style to some silly that he made. Most of the time it's his style, like motorcycle. And he's a stick and ball guy, so he tries to act like he's a motorcycle guy, but yeah, he has horrible posture on a motorcycle. Good ride.
He's out there trying to be an athlete.
Right. So I mean, yeah, we talk about all those products, and it just blows my mind how well everything works, how it performs, and we're thankful for it. You know what I mean? We're thankful for it, and I couldn't imagine these rides without this stuff. You talk about Quad Lock, you talk about Cardo, and our performance gear with Fox, and then of course the Arai helmets. They've done a great job. They got some of the best product out there for adventure as well. So we got some great partners. You know what I mean? And hopefully they see a value in what we do. And like I said, making it raw and organic, and it's not a work trip.
Yeah, it comes across that way. Speaking of organic raw stuff, tell me about some highlights of the trip. I know Stephen Clark, who shot the photos and video on the trip, he's a good friend of mine. We've gone on some pretty dumb rides on dirt bikes and adventure bikes as well, up in Idaho. So he told me a couple things about this landslide you guys ran into. He said, hey, I don't know if the Racer X article actually got all the content in there. They didn't put anything about the landslide necessarily, but you guys came down a road, and obviously, in that time of year, there are landslides across those burn areas, and you basically came across a normal road.
So we went up Engineer Pass, right? And as we got up to the pass, and we went down to, I want to say, was it Silverton? I think so, yeah. Silverton, right? So we're in Silverton. We were going to ride from Silverton. I believe that's where it was. And then down to Ouray, right? And we're coming down, right? Now we're back on we're back on concrete. Pavement. And we're going, and as we're going down this pass, and mind you, it's like 38 degrees. There's like, rain. So we were pretty miserable at this point. Yeah. And all these cars are going back the other way. Lights are flashing, right? We're like, man, what are these people flashing their lights at? Like, there must be like some elk in the road, or
your fans. Man, these people heard about us.
Right. So we get down, we're probably 3 miles from where we need to be. Now we've already ridden 10 miles downhill. Yep. And we get there and there's a massive mudslide completely covered the road. And when I say massive, I'm meaning like it was probably, well, covered the complete road. It was probably 3 feet high, and it I don't know, it's probably 50 yards long as far
Yeah,
as
going down the road.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, yeah. So we had to turn around, go back 10 miles back to Silverton, I think it was. And we're basically at a point where we had to wait for them to clean up the mudslide, or we had to go back over the mountain before it got dark. And it was inclement weather, so we had we were at a tricky stage. So that was an exciting time. Nevertheless, we went back over the pass.
Took the long way around.
Took instead of like waiting for them to clean off the mudslide, which was going to take hours and hours, and there was no guarantee that they would get it done before dark. So that was a highlight. And just going up Engineer Pass and getting up to the top there, just breathtaking views.
First time.
Yeah, that was my first time there. It was absolutely epic. Absolutely epic. So as far as the dirt portion goes, that was probably the funnest part of the ride for sure. And one of the view and some of the most iconic views and terrain that I will remember for a lifetime. It was tough going up Engineer Pass on those bikes. It was super rocky. There were some slippery areas as well, so you really had to be paying attention. I mean, you're in elevation also, so I mean, dude, it was like a workout. It really was. It was like a workout, and I certainly underestimated it. There's no doubt about that. That was a great one. And then I mean, Yellowstone is Yellowstone. We all know how beautiful that is. Whole bunch of wildlife. Outside of wildlife and some of the waterfalls and stuff like that, I'm like, I don't think that I need to go back to Yellowstone.
Yeah. It gets a little busy. It gets a little touristy.
Yeah, that was fun. But I can't remember. My mind escapes me. We were somewhere. There was a massive dam. I can't remember where that was.
Well, you only rode 1,500 miles.
I know, right?
So I don't know why you forgot.
We went down this road. I mean, we were hauling the mail, myself and Anthony Paggio. We ditched we ditched everyone, and I mean, we were hauling, right? And we were on this gnarly, windy road downhill, and you just looking off, into the distance, and the views are absolutely insane. So as far as the road portion goes, that was my favorite road portion of the ride. It was absolutely epic, just the windy, twisty roads and views. So this was one of the funnest adventure rides for sure that we have done.
Talk about the bikes. You guys rode the new 1200s, I think.
Yeah.
Did everybody ride 1200s? Most of them?
Not everyone. Some 900 Rally Pros, but yeah. So we got to ride the new Triumph Tiger 1200s, right? And what an incredible bike! Yeah. So they've lowered the overall weight of the bike, got the CG down, CG a little bit lower. And anytime no matter what kind of motorcycle you're on, you get that CG lower and centrally located, the thing is going to handle really well. So that bike was absolutely unbelievable. It felt nimble, very similar to the 900. Yep. But you have that power from the 1200, right?
Big, stable.
Yeah, just all the features, the cruise control and the heated grips, and it was nice. And I've always kind of drifted more towards the 900, but I will tell you, for our next year's ride, most likely I'm going to be on the 1200, just because it has that extra power, which is really nice for highway use. The torque that it has is unbelievable, and that's one thing I think that Triumph is really what, I mean, they do a lot of things great, but how much work that thing has, you
Yeah.
know, you could be cruising down the highway, you know, in fifth gear and slow down to 40 and then just roll the power on. And the next thing you know, you're doing 85 mile an hour.
Yeah.
Has so much low end torque. So anyhow,
People get a little intimidated by the 1200cc adventure bikes, and I mean, yes, in the right spot, they're a handful and they're big, and especially for people that aren't, 6'5" like me. I'm, 5'10". Ricky Carmichael isn't 6'5", certainly.
oh,
So,
know, another thing too, Jesse, is like I was doing an interview a couple weeks ago, and they're like, what was your first initial thought of an adventure bike? And straight up, I'm a smaller dude. I'm 5'6.5", 5'7" on a good day.
yeah.
um, they can look intimidating. They really can. But then you get on bikes, and that's what I would say to anyone wanting get into the adventure category. And you look at a Tiger, don't don't be fooled by the looks. Yes, it looks intimidating, but once you sit on these motorcycles and you ride them, they are designed to feel a lot less intimidating than what they look. Yeah, I mean, you get on them, you're like, I can't believe this bike feels this light. It's this nimble. You look at the thing, it looks like a tank, but you get on it and you're like, holy crap, this thing is like it's not tiny, but you're like, it's not as overwhelming as it looks.
Yeah, they have done their homework to make them capable machines for all terrain, and they're proven. I mean, I went to Morocco for the Triumph 900 launch when they launched the new platform, and you can't go any more weird than Morocco to ride motorcycles. And you're like, what am I going to get into? But I've ridden them enough now that they inspire confidence more than fear most of the time. Even the 1200, with respect, obviously.
Yeah.
But when you get on the road and you have those creature comforts, and those are the add-ons that are, a lot of people in the adventure world are boo-hooing some of those now. They're like, oh, they're too complicated. You don't need all that stuff. And I'm like, you don't need heated grips and a heated seat. But when it's 30 degrees out and you have to turn around and go back from a mudslide up over a pass again, it's really nice.
Well, you're exactly right. And it's like, yeah, people that they want to say, oh, you don't need this, you don't need that. Yeah, you never need it until you do. And I've used on this year, I used the grip warmers when we got caught up by that mudslide. It was cold, it was rainy, and then I've used the seat heater numerous
stuff all the time
in the early morning. So you know what? Do you always need it? Of course not. Is it nice to have that option so long as you're not losing any performance? Why wouldn't you have it? So
cruise control. Bring it. Give me all of it. I'll take all of that stuff.
I'd rather have the option and use it if needed rather than not have the option.
I can ride a dirt bike if I want to ride a dirt bike. It's easy. They don't have heated grips most of the time. Speaking of dirt bikes, let's talk about Triumph Off-Road and how that's progressing and your involvement in that and all the new bikes that you come out with. Just spill the beans. Tell us everything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sworn to secrecy on some things, but so it's been a really fun project. Being a huge part in the research and development side of things for their off-road line that they will be launching. I will tell you, the engineering and R&D department have done a fabulous job on these motorcycles. I was pleasantly surprised from the onset of when we did our first initial test 2 years ago, what they came to the table with. They're extremely receptive of what we need to have and what we need to bring to the table from a production standpoint, from a factory racing standpoint. And I'll tell you what, they have brought their A game. I think that the people are really going to be excited about the motorcycles. I think it's great for the sport. I think it's great for the category. It's exciting time. So it's been a fun process. It's been a fun process to see this thing come to life and start from the ground. everything is made by Triumph. It is their creation, and it's been fun. It's been fun to be a part of.
When you got involved, was it drawings on paper and like sketches, or was it like, hey, we already built this, what do you think? Can you write it? Can you look at it? Can you tell us what's going to happen next?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it had already been designed for the most part when I stepped in, and when I became part of the team. Yeah, they had a base, if you will, and from that point on, we just started building from that. And that was 2 years ago, right? I did my first initial test with them right before COVID hit, and in fact, like the engineers were over here, and COVID hit, and they were basically the last flights to get back to headquarters, and then they shut down. So yeah, so that kind of slowed everything down. Not to an excuse. Everyone wants to know, why isn't it coming? Why isn't it coming? Like, how come you haven't seen anything? We got slowed down because of that.
Also
but we've made some changes that I think that the general consumer is really going to be grateful for, and they're going to love when they see the product. So that put us behind a little bit, but we also know, and this is super important for everyone to understand, is like, listen, we only have one chance at a first impression. And I have been huge on the side of where, listen, it has to be right. From a production level, it's got to be right. We want to have the best bike out there possible, how it handles, how it looks, how it performs, from the chassis to the engine, all that fun stuff. So we're really close to releasing all the information on that fun stuff. So
you have any idea when it should come out?
I'm just as excited as everyone else is to see it, but it'll be here before too long.
All right. No hard dates though.
Not yet. It's like a moving target. It's not target, but what I can tell you is it's going to be very soon.
All right, cool. Well, I really hope I get a ride one soon.
Oh, I'm sure.
One even.
No, you'll probably be on the list to ride one first. So, but
so
yeah.
If I'm not, I'm calling and be like, Ricky said I was on the list. Like,
it's funny when I
Ricky told me.
It's funny when I see stuff like on these chat boards, and normally I don't go, but like people's their ideas and their suspicions and what they think it's going to be. Yeah. And some people are way short. So they're going to be blown away, I think, when they see the motorcycle. It's a fantastic looking bike.
Is it going to be just one model, or is it going to be like spread across the board? A few things.
250s. Yeah, all a wide variety of displacements.
Okay, cool. In different categories?
Yeah, different categories. Absolutely. So it's gonna be good.
I knew I'd get some information out of you about it.
Nah, I mean, hey, a wide variety of displacements, and it's gonna be, people are gonna love it.
All right, let's get back to adventure really quick. We can wrap it up. So your RC Summer Adventure is like a thing now. Like it's a monster you created. You're gonna have to keep going. You said you want to stay in Darby every year, but you're gonna have to go to different places. So how are you gonna keep building these routes out of there and keep being creative?
Yeah, so that's awesome. So I'm thinking about, I definitely want to go to Darby, but we've between our group, we've been thinking like maybe we need to do an East Coast ride this year.
Yeah.
So we are heavily thinking about switching it over to the East Coast. And I've never really spent a lot of time now on the East Coast and riding, and I'm hearing like there's some great riding on this side of the country. So it's looking that way, like, hey man, the last 3 years we've done it out here. Let's do a change of pace on this side and do that. So I don't know, that's kind of, we're leaning heavy towards making it maybe starting up north, like when I say Maine somewhere, and then coming on down and ending up like in the Carolinas, perhaps. Like what is that? Is it Dragon's Tail or something?
Tail of the Dragon.
Tail of the Dragon. Yep. Like that's epic. So maybe in somewhere down there.
I mean,
So I'm
it's littered with
looking
amazing roads on the East
like
Coast.
it's looking like it's going to be on the East Coast this year, and
Nice.
give it a rest, give the West Coast a rest. I will be bummed because I love Darby.
You can go back.
And one of the things too, like, yes, I do want to do a ride on the East Coast, but me being living on the East Coast my whole life, like I'm so used to what the East Coast looks like, right? And that's why I love going out to the West and riding out there. I'm not used to that, so it's fun and new. So although we're probably going to end up on the East Coast this year, I'm looking forward to seeing the sights and hitting new road, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Cool, man. Well, I really appreciate you talking to us and being part of our adventure guide for Cycle News and on the Cycle News YouTube channel and stuff. And look forward to more adventures with you and what you come up with and following along and that Triumph bike and, just seeing if we can maybe get on a ride and see how much crazy, silly stuff we can make fun of your friends.
Maybe you need to come on a ride with us next year if you can.
Oh,
if you
geez.
fit it, right? If you can fit it in.
I'll have to sign the application and put in my references, and you guys probably gonna have like a big list now, like have like all these qualifications. You got too many people signing up.
Hey, I'm glad that what you're doing at Cycle News. I go back to my early years, and I remember when I was 11 years old, all I wanted to do was be on the cover of Cycle News, and it's great to see what you're doing with Cycle News. And yeah, I'm excited for you and everyone else having an outlet to do what we're doing here today.
Yeah, it was cool. I loved seeing the story in Racer X, obviously, and then JH reached out through Simon and Stephen Clark and said, "Hey, can you guys do something on this?" I was like, "Yeah, we'd love to. We're actually coming out with a special issue anyway, and let's just twist it and flip it a little bit because we don't want to do the same stuff that Davey and the crew at Racer X are doing. Plus, this will give it a little more better legs. So it'll be cool, man. If you're ever in California, come on down. We got all the covers of you in that room over there with all the archives. So it worked out. You made it. Your 11-year-old goal turned out okay.
I'm very lucky.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate the time. I'll send you some notes if I got anything or any changes.
Sounds good, my man.
Thanks, Ricky. Talk to you later.
Bye.